You ever wonder how an AI, when you ask it something, decides what to do? How it chooses between searching the web or calling some other service or just answering from its own knowledge? Well, today we're going to peel back the curtain and actually build that decision-making engine right from the ground up.
And that's really the core question, isn't it? An AI has this whole toolbox. It's got its language model for writing stuff, an API to pull in live data, maybe a database for specific facts. The real magic, the thing that makes it smart, is giving it what we call a router, basically a brain, to pick the exact right tool at the exact right time. And this slide just perfectly shows you why this is so important. On the left, you've got a simple AI that gets a command, fumbles, uses the wrong tool, and you get a bad result. But on the right, the smart AI uses its router to figure out what you really want, picks the perfect tool, and gets you a great result. That little router is the difference between clumsy and capable. All right, so here's the game plan for today. We're going to start with the most basic, simple decision. Then we'll start adding layers of caution and complexity. After that, we'll build in a super important safety net. And finally, we'll put all the pieces together into a complete decision system, leaving you with a solid blueprint.
Let's dive in with our very first component. This is the simplest, most direct way for an AI to make a choice, and it's a strategy called Argmax routing. The logic here? It's actually super straightforward. For any question you ask it, the router calculates a confidence score for every single tool it could possibly use. After it's scored all the options, it just picks the one with the absolute highest number. It's a pure, simple winner-takes-all situation. And take a look at this. It shows the process so clearly. The query is translate to French. The router scores using the large language model at 0.92 and a potential translation API at 0.88. Well, 0.92 is higher, so the LLM wins. Boom! Done! It's really that simple. So the thing to remember about Argmax is this. It makes a strict, final decision. There's no waffling, no second guessing. It just picks the best and moves on. Okay, that's simple enough. But, what happens if the highest score isn't actually very good? Or what if a problem needs more than one tool to solve it? So let's move on and see how we can build on this by adding some much-needed caution and complexity. This is where we teach our AI to be a little more cautious, and we do that with threshold routing. So instead of just blindly picking the highest score, we tell it, hey, only choose a tool if you are, let's say, 80% confident it's the right one. It's like a quality control check for its own brain. Let's walk through this example of checking an account balance. The API route gets a score of 0.65, but we've set our confidence threshold at 0.80. Since 0.65 is less than 0.80, the router smartly decides not to act. It knows it's better to do nothing at all than to risk making a mistake. So really, the whole idea here is simple. Only act when you're truly confident. And that's a critical feature for any system where, mistakes could actually be a big deal. All right, now let's level up a bit. Some problems are just too complex for one tool, and that's where Top K routing comes in. Instead of that winner-takes-all approach, the system is smart enough to pick a small group of the highest-scoring tools and have them work together. And this is a fantastic example of its power. For a query like summarize latest stock news, the router gets that it needs two things to happen. It activates an API to go out and grab the latest data, and it also activates the LLM for its incredible ability to summarize that data. Both routes get activated to solve the problem together. Yeah, so the best way to think about this one is like you've got a team of specialists. It's multiple brains working together on one single complex problem. Okay, so our AI is getting smarter. It can make confident choices. It can even use multiple tools. But what happens when, things just break? When an API fails or no tool meets our confidence level? Every good system needs a safety net. This is where fallback logic comes in, and honestly, this is non-negotiable for any real-world app. It's just a predefined backup plan. If the first choice fails for whatever reason, the system doesn't just crash and burn, it automatically pivots to a second reliable option. So, let's see it in action. A user asks to track my order. The system's first move is to call the order tracking API. But, oh no, the API fails. Instead of just giving up, the fallback logic kicks in, and it defaults to the LLM, which can then politely explain the problem to the user. It's all about graceful recovery. So at the end of the day, just think of fallback logic as the official backup plan for your AI's intelligence. It's what makes sure the system is reliable and gives users a good experience, even when things don't go perfectly. All right, we've got all our pieces on the workbench: a way to make a clear choice, a way to add caution, a way to handle complexity, and a safety net. Now it's time to assemble them into a single intelligent system. Because here's the thing, the really smart systems, they don't just use one of these, they use all of them, creating these layers of logic. They might use Argmax for that first big decision, but with a threshold check for safety and that fallback logic sitting there ready to go just in case. This table right here is basically your ultimate cheat sheet. It lays out each strategy, its decision style, and when you'd want to use it. Argmax, that's for simple, clear choices. Threshold, that's your confidence gate, your safety check. Top K is for when things get complicated. And fallback, well, that's your backup plan for when everything else fails. This is the core idea to take away. So now that we've put all the pieces together, we're left with a complete blueprint for an AI's brain. So let's get to the final and I think the most important takeaway. And it's this. Routing isn't just about a single decision. It's about building a decision system. It's a combination of different kinds of logic that lets an AI adapt, double-check its own choices, and recover from failure. This is what turns a simple tool into a truly intelligent agent. So there you have it. We've gone through the whole build plan, from the simplest choice all the way to a complete, robust system. You now have the fundamental blueprint for giving an AI a decision-making brain. The only question left is, what are you going to build with it?